Hey, go ahead.
I wouldn't say mine was more physical like that. But the night my grandmother died, I was pregnant with my daughter, and I visited her in the hospital. And I went home because I was tired, and my mom and my aunt had stayed there. And I got home, I went to sleep, and I made my mom promise that if anything happened to my grandmother, because I knew it was any time, to come to my house and tell me. I didn't want to just get a phone call. And my grandma, I went to sleep, and my grandma said bye to me. And to this day, I'll get goosebumps, and I'll probably start to cry now. But she came to me, and she just told me goodbye, and that she loved me, and no matter what, I was her grandbaby. And that she just wanted me to do as good as I could. And right then, I got a knock at my window, and my mom came to the door, and I told my mom exactly where she was sitting, where my aunt was sitting, what happened, that my grandma just went to sleep and never woke up, and it was weird.
Yeah, well, these experiences do happen. We always have to be cautious of having experiences with real angels versus real angels from the dark side also, because they're just as real, and they can manifest themselves also. We as Christians, generally, when we have a supernatural experience, we always immediately think it's from God. We never, ever consider that it's coming from the devil. And they come on as angels of light. That's why it says test the spirits and be cautious in areas like this. One example that I've never forgotten, I don't know if I read this in Fox's Martyrs for Christ or somebody just told me this story, but it was a story of a martyr, a person back in the 1st century or something that they had tried to kill and beat up and the whole bit, and threw him in a cell. And they put him and tortured him and all kinds of stuff. And this guy just withstood everything. His faith in the Lord allowed him to withstand every bit of torture that they could throw at him. And one night he's there after being tortured, and this bright light and image appears in the cell, and it starts talking to him, and it appeared to look like Christ, and it's telling him how wonderful of faith he's had in him, and he hasn't budged, and all this complimentary rhetoric and everything, and I've got a place for you in heaven, and all this business, and says to him, and all I ask of you is just fall down and worship me. And the guy started to do it, and then he looked up and he said, "Who is the Lord?" And this thing just vanished.
Wow.
You know, the guy's testimony was he came so close to falling down and worshiping this image, it wasn't funny. So he withstood all the torture, everything that way. And so now we've got the con job coming, the false manifestation of Jesus appearing in his cell, and he almost fell down and worshiped it. And he says, "Tell me, who is the Lord?" And bingo, it was gone. You know. So these things, I suppose you can. I'm not one that has had a lot of experience with the good angels. I have had some experience with the bad angels. But I haven't had a lot of experiences with the good angels that I'm aware of. Now, they say that they're ministering spirits that are sent out to minister to the saints. And so I do know that, like your situation, nothing like actually seeing a manifestation. But I can say this. The old story to where you'll hear people say, "Well, I should have been dead." I really should have been dead on more than one occasion. As crazy as I was, not to get into any of my stories about at age 18 and 19 being absolutely nutso flying airplanes. You know, I remember one time I had a bunch of buddies of mine in the airplane, and we were doing what's called a touch and go, and I get down on the ground with them and I start talking to them, and I realize I'm talking too long to them, and the plane's going pretty good, and I pull it up and I look down, and there's this plane at the end of the airport. The airport went like this, and then it went down like this, and then there's this big big, thick planks that they have across. And man, I looked down and my tires of that airplane were only about that far from that plank. If my tires would have hit that plank, and we would have been boom, just like that, dead. That's just one of many experiences I had of just being a crazy kid, and I can't, I should have been dead, and lots of my friends think I should have been dead. And somehow or another God had his hand on me, maybe through ministering spirits that allowed me to protect me against my own ignorance.